Cool. So it goes on the Facebook group?
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, sir. How are you?
I'm
Good
good.
morning.
Yeah, I'm good.
Excellent. I'm just going to double check that we're all good and live. Make sure it's all functioning. Yeah, we are. Awesome. So welcome, Nick. For those of you who are joining us this morning or watching this afterwards, we are now talking about email marketing for e-commerce. So the basic 101 fundamentals you need to know in order to make it work for you. And today I've got Nick, who is in our team at Misfit Digital. He's one of our email marketing and automation specialists. So I'll get Nick to talk a bit about what he does in a second around how he helps our clients. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, we've got, it's not just me who does this. I've got a business called Misfit Digital, and there's a lot of very, very, very intelligent people, such as Nick in the back end, doing a lot of the work for some of our clients. So I'm going to start bringing more of them on to share their knowledge as well, because they are right in the thick of it and have some pretty awesome on the tool insights as well. So Nick, thank you for jumping on and making time this morning with me.
Yeah, of course. No.
I think, Nick, maybe just talk about first a little bit around what you do when it comes to email marketing, and basically what you've seen in the last few months around how email marketing has really helped e-commerce stores.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what we do is basically we'll do the whole thing for our clients that are on an email marketing retainer that goes from recommending what we believe is the best platform for them, all the way to migrating from a previous platform if they have one, uploading their databases, and then creating lists and segments, and then creating those email sequences that will help them create loyalty, increase the touch points with the customers, and so usually new clients will have a bit of a warming period when they jump into a new email platform. So from the beginning, what we try and do is set up those email sequences that their audience are most interested in, such as the welcome series, for example. If they buy something for the first time, it's just a little introduction to the brand. That always gets high open rates. So that's basically what we do. Is we onboard them, we set up the platform, and then set up the email sequences that can help them achieve the business goals.
Awesome. And I'm going to bring it back a little bit more, because I think a lot of people, when I've had feedback in the group, don't really understand or haven't been exposed, I guess, to actually what a sequence is or what a welcome series is. And I think let's maybe just pull it back. And when it comes to email, everyone, especially e-commerce, it's not as simple as having a list. And then just sending an email out there. I guess it's kind of like a storytelling journey. So maybe do you want to run us through a basic email sequence that we could do for an e-commerce store to drive that engagement you're talking about?
Yes, so just to give a bit of context, an email sequence is basically an automation that we set up, and then if certain rules are triggered, the emails get sent, right? So it's an amazing kind of process, because it allows you to put a bit of effort at the beginning, and then it's just a set and forget process. You look at it every so on and optimize it to get better engagement. For e-commerce businesses, usually the main touch point, the first touch point that they have when a new customer buys, is the notification that they have on their e-commerce platform, such as Shopify. So Shopify will send an email kind of like saying, thank you for your purchase, and then there's a confirmation. But that email notification, it's usually not customized whatsoever. It doesn't have the logo. It's just a template that basically has the product, and the colors might not even be the same as your brand's colors. So just customizing that first email gives a completely new introduction to a new consumer of the brand. And that's why the welcome email is so important, for example.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't realize as well that, so say if you've got a Shopify store, for example, with Shopify, there can be some predetermined or pre-existing emails that can go out. So there are actually third-party tools that are a bit more effective when it comes to email, that you can actually connect into some of these websites to, as you're saying, do that customization, allow for a lot more brand colors, a lot more, I guess, bespoke information, and being a bit more strategic when it comes to your email. So what are some of the tools that people can plug into that you recommend?
Well, As mentioned, so yeah, Shopify will have some email features, but they're very, very basic. The good thing about Shopify and basically any other e-commerce platform out there that is not custom is that they're native integrations. The most common one that people use is usually MailChimp, but Klaviyo is the one that we definitely recommend for e-commerce business because it's just a platform that is made for e-commerce. So the amount of features that it has related towards selling products over email are just much. It's a wider range compared to MailChimp, and the price is literally almost the same. The other thing as well about email is that you pay more for the platform as your database grows. So you can basically grow as you grow as well. So it doesn't get very expensive from the get-go.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I'm glad you mentioned Klaviyo. So through my own experience with Klaviyo, it's when you see the functionality is so much stronger. So just to give people an example, like with Klaviyo, it has the ability, and when you said native integration before, I think that's a really key thing. So for those who don't know what that means, basically it means you don't have to get a developer to connect these things together. It literally is just a click of a button and it will connect the third-party platform with the website. So that's why if you're starting out in e-commerce or something like that, it is so much more cost effective and time effective to get these tools that can plug in the back end. So do you want to maybe give us some examples with Klaviyo of how it is a bit more powerful? Like what are some things you've seen with clients or strategies you've used to really leverage the tools that it has to offer?
Well, once the integration is done, it's pretty easy to kind of like get it up and running. So one cool thing about Klaviyo is that you have, for example, lists, which is your different list of customers, and then you can create segments of those lists. Usually you have to create segments, you have to create new lists, and then it gets a bit more tricky. But then you can set some very specific rules, such as people that have bought over 5 times to create a segment. And then you can really start seeing who your most loyal customers are, which is pretty good. You're also able to have kind of like a little, it acts as your CRM in some way as well, because you get a profile of each person, and then you're able to see how many times they bought, what they bought before, what days they bought it, etc. So that's a pretty cool thing that Klaviyo offers. But on top of that is the ability to actually pull the products from your website to add them onto your email, the ability to track revenue with default UTM parameters, which are like tracking cookies. We have the ability to set up some really simple automations that are already kind of like created there for you. All you have to do is just change the date that you send them and the emails, of course. There's a lot of training available. Anyone can use it. And to create emails is just a drag and drop. So it's very simple kind of tool to create very, very engaging emails.
I love that. And I think with Klaviyo, the amazing thing with this, guys, is the whole point of email marketing, when it's done well, in my opinion, is being able to maintain a constant connection with your audience. But all of this, what I think people don't realize, a lot of this is automated. So, and you keep saying that, you can pre-do this. So if you do this up front and you set the journey, so what the first email that person gets when they sign up to your newsletter on site, what the first email is that they get once they buy their first product, what the follow-up email is once something has been shipped, all that kind of stuff can be pre-automated. And what it does in these platforms, for those who haven't experienced this, you can put little bits of code effectively, and it will replace the person's name. So you're not actually sending these out manually each time. And then, as Nic was mentioning before, from the tracking, it tracks everything from how much the email's been opened to how many times someone's clicked on a certain link to showing you exactly what link is driving what revenue in your store. So you can start to make strategic decisions based off the content you're sending out. And it's extremely effective. And these are the things, guys, with these tools, it doesn't really matter which one you use. Klaviyo for e-commerce it's an e-commerce specialist one. So as Nic said, it's by far the more, look, from our experience, I think that we've probably seen about 2 to 3 times more return on people using Klaviyo than other platforms. Would you say that's a fair assumption?
Yeah. When it comes to e-commerce, yes, because it just connects to every store out there, and the features when it comes to e-commerce are better. I think you also touched on something really important, which is personalization, how you can actually choose talk to someone by their name, and also based on what they just recently did on your website. So it's, I think, the only platform out there where you can really, really personalize your communications that not even ads can do, despite our very specific targeting, which is amazing.
Totally, and I love that. So what you were just saying before, so let's maybe talk about an example. So say if I go to a fashion site and I'm looking up a page that is all about, I don't know, gym wear, for example, and I haven't really, what can I do from there, from an email perspective, to re-engage that customer if I haven't bought yet? What's some things you can do there?
You can always have re-engagement or browse abandonment sequence, for example. So browse abandonment is you've been checking out a shirt, and then Klaviyo will know that, and we can put you into a segment, and then we can send an email to you that recommends that same shirt that you were checking out, plus other different shirts that you might be interested in. So that's something that you can do to drive sales as well through email marketing. The good thing about that is that you can put, "Hi, Katya. I think if you were checking this out, you might like this as well." And then you can make it really engaging. All the big brands are doing it. Cotton On, all of the fashion brands are doing it, because if you make it engaging, what happens is that people will usually go back to the site and end up buying that or something else. So that is definitely the power of personalization. The other cool thing about Klaviyo, one of the features, is that you can actually set up rules, so you don't send an unlimited amount of emails to the same person within the same week, for example. That way you can keep those emails personalized to, they just basically receive what they need to see and what they're interested in.
And I love that. And I think, guys, when it comes to emails, there is, as Nic said, there's goals. There's also parameters you can make sure that you're not bombarding people. So, because email's a fine line. You can get to a point where people just feel like they're being spammed, right? So that's when you just keep pressing play. Don't do that. Make sure if you're going to send out emails, there's a structure or a strategy behind it. As Nic said, like, "Hey, Katya, you've been looking at this this shirt or whatever it is. Here's some recommendations." Or, "Hey, if it's come back into stock and I've been looking at it, here's something." Or not. It's not always necessarily as well, guys, sales emails. I think something that works really well is educational based emails too. So if it is a fashion based brand, having an email that shows the potential customer how to style it, what it goes with, kind of setting the scene for how they could see this piece of clothing in their wardrobe. And again, it's got to be relevant. If you might have a segment of people who are corporates versus, teenagers. The way they're going to style that shirt is going to be completely different, right? Well, for most, but it's about understanding again your customer and making sure the content you're putting out is so relevant to what who they are, And I think, Nic, as well, like what's your take on, taking on, growing an email list? So what would you do to get new email? People might be going, "I don't even have a list." So how do I start by getting people into my email funnel?
Well, for starters, you can just put a little opt-in in your checkout process, and then a lot of people that buy something. That's the good thing about e-commerce. Basically, everyone that buys online, it just gives you their email and their name. And if you offer like a little discount, like enjoy 5%, or keep in touch to see new releases and things like that, if they like your product, if they like your brand, then usually not gonna untick it. A lot of the people, when they don't interact with your emails, if they're on Gmail or Outlook, it just sends to promotional tabs. So people don't actually get too annoyed by emails coming in all the time. That's why they keep getting so many. The other thing that you can do is maybe adding a pop-up in your website as soon as someone goes in, where you can offer a discount in exchange of the email. I think Iconic does that very well. They offer $20 as soon as someone jumps on their website. Or you can have some, it depends on your product, you can have some lead generation tool. So we have an alcohol brand that has a massive list of cocktails. So if you're selling alcohol and you want to give a massive list of cocktails to check in exchange of the email, that'll work too as well. So if there's something that you can give for free that goes well with your product, that'll be a good strategy as well.
So like a value add. So say if you're selling gym equipment, it might be like a sweatband or something like that, or something low cost as a additional thing. Is that what you're saying, or is it more of a
or a PDF downloadable, anything that they can actually learn more about that it relates to your product. Another thing that works well are quizzes. So I know some fashion brands will have like will tell you the right size, for example, or something like that, or your right style. So those are fun ways to increase your database list. And
I love the quiz idea. I think when it comes to people, everyone's self-obsessed, right? So everyone's trying to, that's why those quizzes on Facebook went so freaking viral over like lockdown and stuff. Like, what kind of percentage of crazy are you, or what's your favorite, whatever, and anything that you can loop the brand in so that they feel, so loop the customer in so they feel that the brand is representative of them. It's all psychology, and so quizzes are extremely powerful. And I think also, this is obviously about getting the list, but then once you've got a list, there are a lot of ways that you can engage them. Now, as you mentioned before, you need to make sure you're consistently kind of reaching out to them. You can't just send one email, guys, and expect a return. It does not work. And when people go, "Oh, well, I've tried email marketing, it doesn't work," yeah, you probably sent one or two emails and not actually nurtured your customer base, right? So what are some other ways that you can use email for? Maybe is there anywhere around research or getting customer feedback that you could use email for as well?
Yes, like definitely emails for reviews works really well. And a lot of people on Shopify here in Australia have Trustpilot. And basically what Trustpilot does is that it just sends a little email a few days after your order, and it gives you how many stars you want to put, and then you just click on it, and then that's your review right there. It works really well for a lot of customers. A lot of people do not mind, like people don't mind adding a good review when they're happy with your product. It's just they never have the proactiveness to actually do it. So a little reminder definitely goes a long way. To create loyalty, the good thing about segmenting your audience is that you can really tell who your most loyal customers are, and it's just so much easier to sell to someone that's been buying from you forever than to try and get a new customer out the door and then re-engage him and everything. So just definitely sending those new product launches to the people that already love you will work to create loyalty. With Shopify, you can also connect it to other apps, so you can have loyalty or rewards programs as well.
Yeah,
make it a bit more interesting, and so people can feel they're getting something back by keep buying from you. And there's just so many things. Product releases is one that I like a lot to just keep people engaged with what's coming. Birthday emails, just let them know when their birthday is and send a little discount. Things like that work really well.
I agree. And I think, guys, if I could give you any advice, if you're starting out ecom and you're doing, just a small marketing strategy to start off, the two things you need to be doing, if you've got the budget, there's two ways. If you don't have the budget, you need to be really going hard on building an audience and getting awareness. So you can do that through obviously building an Instagram account, being really proactive. Watch the video that Hugh did on Instagram building. That's probably a really good, especially if you're in fashion or beauty or anything that has a visual kind of element to it. The second thing as well, you need to make sure that you are also doing email, because the good thing is if you're spending, or the alternatives, if you're spending money on ads to bring people in, ads are expensive if you're starting out. So you can use your ad account to build a list effectively, or you can use it to bring people to the site. But once you capture that information about them, use email. Email's pretty much free. You pay your, whatever it is, like $50 or $40 a month. I don't even know what it's worth now for the subscription, which is worth it. And then that way you just keep continually storytelling through your organic content on social as well as email. So there are ways to build this up. And I think like this is what Nic's saying, like if you maintain presence through personalization around, hey, it's your birthday, here's 10% off. Hey, we noticed you bought this last time. Here's something that we think you'd like. All that kind of stuff, which you can set up on these platforms. It's incredibly, incredibly powerful. And And Nick, there's been a question around like email marketing strategies for service-based businesses rather than e-com. Michael, the same thing applies. Like it's about understanding what your customer or your potential client is wanting to get. So say, for example, if you've got a service-based industry, a business that does gardening, right? What I would be doing here, firstly, I'd probably be looking at a more advanced CRM. So looking at a Keep or HubSpot or something similar that actually understands in a lot more detail the services that your customer has engaged with. And then understanding if they're getting their lawns done, every month sending them a reminder like, hey, it's time to get your rebook on your lawns or things like that. Or here's some amazing things that we've done for other clients just like you. And if you know that these people are quite well off with big properties and you can mark them in your CRM, then you can start sending them things so they go, oh shit, I want that in my garden, or I want that. So and then the other thing is make sure you're telling people about who your business is and what you stand for, because people buy from people, as Nic said earlier. And also the fact is that you need to make sure that you are really engaging. And because people are, this is the thing, guys, email, people might get frustrated with, you think people might go, oh, I'm sending them too many emails. As long as you're not sending them fucking 10 emails a day, right? Don't do that. But if you're sending them consistent emails over time, people will only probably see maybe about 1 out of 10 to 15 emails come into their inbox, especially if it goes to promotions. So you've got to make sure that you've got consistent stuff going out. Secondly, something like Klaviyo as well, guys, has a feature that if people haven't even opened the email, it will resend it after a certain time. So there's things like that to make sure that people are getting your content. The other side of it too, guys, is you want to really make sure that you are making people remember you, because that's what marketing is. There's so much clutter out there. You need to use email like any other channel. Consistency, making sure that you've got a strategy in place, understanding your content pillars across all kind of sites. It all comes into one. And that's a broader marketing kind of recommendation, I know, but email is a tool. It's not the holy grail. It's a tool within your biggest strategy. Nic, I really want to know what you think about, I guess, how effective email is nowadays. Do you think it's going to continue to be a really effective channel? And what have you seen, I guess, for some clients over the past few months with all this craziness? Is email still as effective as you think it has been in previous times?
Yeah, I mean, people look at their emails sometimes more than they look at their social media, and they're always gonna, as long as like work and we're so reliant on email. I mean, you have to remember, we open a social media account, we are emails. We do everything with our emails, right? So it's just something that every single person has. Some even have, like myself, I have multiple emails now where I just kind of like get different things depending on what I'm interested in. So it's just a tool that is always going to be, I feel, really powerful. It's not as shiny as Facebook sometimes, where you can, get some returns on ad spend, huge returns on an ad or something like that. But over time, it builds up and it just gets so much better as you set it up and then let it run for a while. It just builds up. So it's more of a 3-month forward kind of like a type of strategy. It's not something that in the first 2 weeks you're like, oh, I'm really seeing some amazing money. All you can with some email sequences. And what you were saying is just often overlooked because people for some reason just don't tend to actually be so attracted to it because they don't understand the power of what they could actually achieve. With the COVID thing happening, we got some crazy open rates because people had time to read their emails, people had time to read the content. We got some crazy click rates, and then we got some really good revenue from emails. We're talking like over $10,000 on a single month when everything started for an abandoned cart sequence, for example. So it is a lot of money, and there's no ad spend. The spend is only your marketing platform, which if you have 1,000 contacts on Klaviyo, it's always about $60 or something, $60 to $100, and then it grows as you grow. So it's really cheap as well.
Totally.
And then you can do it.
There's one, I just want to give everyone a tip. You just made me think of something that has worked very well for some of our clients, but e-com as well as service-based industries. So that's everything from like, gardening to restaurants, everything like that. guys, what people love when it comes to marketing is seeing people like them or people that they perceive as better than them in the content, right? So what the whole point of marketing, especially when people are at home during COVID and stuff as well, is the whole FOMO concept, right? The fear of missing out. So what we've done for other clients previously is even just set up a monthly competition. So this is where it starts to utilize your organic Instagram accounts as well as your email. So imagine if you've got a hashtag. So you've got maybe your business is called gardening, amazing gardening or something. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not a brander. But, that's your hashtag, whatever it is. Make sure it's a fairly individual one. Put out to your customers and put them in your social and stuff, and in store if you can, or on your email, on your web store as well. Take a photo and win XYZ, right? So the benefit of this is there's a couple of things. Maybe you give $100 voucher away a month. The cost of your marketing then, $100 to get exposure like that is absolutely minuscule. Or maybe it's a free service, right? So then you asking your customers, and you make sure this is going to be across all of your different platforms, so it's consistent, people seeing this, to share on Instagram using a hashtag or tag your thing in it, right? Whatever. And then what you get from that, guys, you get a whole lot of content, user-generated content. And this leads in, if anyone saw the influencer stuff, this is called like the micro influencers effectively, because they're your customers who are creating content in real time, showing your product in amazing different situations, showing the kind of people that go to your if it's a venue or the kind of people who buy from you. And that way you're starting to build up this whole kind of, experience that people can perceive online, but you're not having to do all the content. And then you can use all this on your Instagram, on your, on your emails, and then start to really feed that out. So guys, it's about working smarter when it comes to this stuff. And that whole strategy, if you implement that, is going to cost you, as I said, whatever your giveaway is. And then you announce the giveaway each month. It's that whole showing of you're giving back as a business and all that kind of thing. People love that stuff. They love it. So that's just one thing. If you're not even doing that, I'd be implementing that straight away, especially right now when people are on their phones all the time. And if all of their friends and their networks, if they start seeing this business popping up and their friends are doing it, they're going to buy from you. Guaranteed. Or they're going to follow you, or they're going to make sure that they are, in the background. This works really. I've got a few friends here who are doing hospitality stuff. This is such a good strategy for that. It will cut through the clutter, especially on Instagram. Make sure you are using that, and you don't have to use all the content. You can pick and choose, but it's so much easier than having to go, what am I going to create today, or how do I get people to, it's just little tips like that. Anything else that you've seen, Nic, that's worked well for brands on email at the moment? Little strategies or tactics that have worked.
Well, for e-commerce, you can get as creative as you want. You can really put the brand into your email, create 1 to 2 templates, and keep it consistent. You can have some pretty fun copy as well, right? So there's no limitations on what you can say as long as you're your own brand, and you can be fun. You can be you can really be engaging. Because you have so much more text to do so. An email is generally anywhere from 200 to 500 words. If you want to keep it short with words, you can add GIFs that link to your products. GIFs actually work really well on email. Video you cannot use, but you can link to video as well. The other thing to keep in mind is that a lot of people are using dark mode on their phones. So always getting used to putting a background white so it doesn't affect your whole email design is important, because that changed the whole way the emails look lately. A lot of people are using it, myself included. Apart from that, any other strategies? Subject lines, make them funny, make them interesting. Don't be the typical special promotion type of thing. That's really, really important, people. You want people to actually open your emails. You've done all this work creating something long and you're like, newsletter 101, like, don't do that. It's got to have something that makes people go, oh shit, what is this talking about? Like, hey, and there's a lot of different ways of doing it. You see some businesses like, we'll go like, I fell off my chair when ... or something like that, that kind of like half sentence thing. Or it could be, if you're going to be just basic promotions, you could do something like be in to win $100 and think,
make sure it's a brand though. But that's such an important subject lines are so important. And a lot of these tools too, guys, you can test this stuff. So you can actually A/B test different subject lines to see give the same email, but the subject's different to a split group of audience, and see actually what people prefer for your group. So test stuff out. So I love these tools.
You got preview as well. So the preview text, usually on phone now, on iPhones, for example, you actually get to see quite a few lines of your email. So by actually adding a preview text, you can complement what you're saying on the subject line and have some more space for engaging copy. So that one's really important as well. Apart from
there's one final thing I think we should probably talk about, Nick, and that's around privacy when it comes to emails. If you are, look, every country has a different requirement when it comes to privacy policy, I guess, law. Make sure you look it up and firstly, make sure you have a privacy policy, because if you're collecting data from anyone, you legally have to have one. That means displayed on your e-commerce site. Now you can get them generated, a standard one generated from your standard I guess commerce business site. So like Business Victoria, has got one. Just get that on. Like, I think you're not even allowed to run advertising on Facebook if you don't have a privacy policy now. You have to do that. Basically, what it's doing, it's outlining to the consumer what you are going to use that data for. Now, the other thing, people, if you collect data for one business and in your privacy policy you've said that I am only going to use it for business A, you can't use it for business B unless they've opted in. You can actually, it's against the law. So be so careful when you're using this data. The other thing is, don't buy data. It's illegal in Australia as well. You can't use it for a third party thing. People have to have opted in to get marketing, right? So please don't do that. A lot of people, it doesn't work, and you're going to waste your money on a whole audience are going, what the hell am I getting this email from this random business for? Don't do that. Like, people try and jump. It's crazy. Are there any other privacy things or I guess things that you've got to be careful about when you're collecting data or using emails, Nick?
Definitely a privacy policy. It's so important. It's also, the templates are out there, and you can actually check with the government. They offer, Victoria, for example, has their own template, and then you can follow those guidelines. The thing to keep in mind as well when you were saying about buying emails is that Gmail and Outlook will actually keep track of your on-bounce rate and of all the emails that are being sent straight to spam. So that really hurts the email deliverability, which means that once Gmail kind of like sees that a bunch of the emails that you have are not good, it's just going to start sending your emails to junk. And that's when you really get your chance to communicate with people. That's why buying emails don't work, because a lot of those emails are just, they might not be working, they might not be updated, and they're just going to bounce straight away. And Gmail and Outlook will keep that in mind. And they have a record of the emails that you sent. Another tip would be not using a no reply at email. It's just,
oh God, don't do that. It drives me insane. Oh my God.
It's the opposite.
You want to make it easy as possible for your customer to reply too. And it's like, no reply. It's like, fuck, you've got to reply. And it's just, it's such a bad experience. So that's one thing. But also, and what's the other reasons behind it, Nick?
It's just the opposite of amazing customer service. Instead of friendly, you're just telling them not to talk to you. And I've never really seen a business that actually has managed to make a good following out of getting people not to talk to them. It's just
it's like the no. Oh my God, I got that the other day and I was so frustrated because it was, especially because it was in regards to something. I think it was a flight voucher that I obviously a flight with everything that's going has come back, and there was nothing else in the email about how to contact them. I was like, oh, so don't do that, people. Think of like other thing with emails, guys, and this is with any marketing. If you're doing it by yourself and you're setting this stuff up, get a sense check, get a friend or someone just to look over it and give you advice if this actually makes sense, because you will miss things. Like, no matter how good you are, you get so caught up in the automations or writing the copy. You need someone to come in and go, that doesn't make sense. How come I can't click through to there or something? Don't take offense. They're trying to help you. So that's some advice I'd definitely do as well. Cool. Nick, just wrapping up, is there anything else that you think people need to know when it comes to email?
Well, mostly that it can really be done by anyone. You just have to put the time. I recommend just start simple because yeah, once you build a lot of automations, it can be difficult to kind of like keep track of everything. And also if something's not working, it's hard to go and determine what the issue might be. So just start small, one by one, and then just grow it over time.
Yeah.
And then we'll give it a go because it's a platform that really, really works. And it allows you to do a lot more things that you cannot do with ads, such as increase loyalty and really engage your customers.
That's it. And guys, if you're not doing email now, even start small. Just if anything, especially for ecom, make sure you've got an abandoned cart email in place. Like, just make sure you've done that. Also, if you do have a welcome email as well, if someone is signing up on your for your database online, have a response so people know they actually have got something. Or that's the thing with email. If there's any action that's taken on your site, you should be following that up with an email. As in, I've made a purchase, there's been a delivery, there's a delay, I've signed up for your newsletter, I've abandoned cart. Everything should be followed up because it's that validation of an action someone's done. Otherwise, it's a really shitty experience for the customer. Similar to service industries too, guys. If you've got a form on your site and it's, hey, just even a basic contact us form, fill out and we'll get back to you. Make sure you've got an email to respond. It's people don't know if you've got the information unless you go, hey, thanks Nick, thanks for filling this out. We'll be back. Contact you within 24 hours to find out more. Or if it's, hey, here's our booking link to book in a time with our sales team, whatever. So guys, and that's what I mentioned, get someone to go through your process if you're not sure and give you that advice around, hey, this doesn't make sense or this doesn't work from a customer's point of view. Always the customer, no matter how advanced or how great you think things are, if the customer finds it too challenging or doesn't understand it, you're screwed because it's them who's going to be actually following through your journey. Nick, thank you so much. Guys, anyone on here, if you've got any further questions around email, this is actually a bigger conversation, I think, and something a lot of people need to really think about, which I'm going to do a little bit of training over the next few weeks, is around a consumer journey and understanding, okay, when someone first is exposed to your brand, what are the touch points along that are able to, that you need to be able to address. So look, and this is where we start doing more channel planning. So we bring in different channels that are relevant. Is it email? Is it social? Is it messenger bots? Is it whatever? But what I'm trying to do at the moment, guys, is give you the fundamentals of each of these channels so you understand how they can all be used together to really, supercharge your marketing strategy. And that applies for e-commerce, lead gen, whatever, service-based products, all kind of comes into one. So thanks, guys. If anyone's got any further questions, feel free to put some comments down and we'll get back to you. Yeah, thanks, Nick. Have a fantastic day. Be safe in Melbourne. And yeah, I'm sure I'll talk to you during the day anyway. Thank you, everyone. Bye.